Welcome back, everybody. Welcome to a special edition of the Double Take, an NFL podcast. I'm your host today, Daniel. I'm joined by, like always, my brother David. David, what's up?
Hey, I'm excited. Oh man, I'm getting goosebumps. This is super exciting episode.
Now, there's a reason why I'm hosting this week and not David, because there's got to be some order. There's got to be some unbiased opinion. There has to be a moderator to keep David in check, because today is a special day. We have Steven, my boy Steven, who serves with me at church. He is a Philadelphia Eagles fan. And so this has been in the making for a while now, Steven. It's been in the works for a while. And so we finally got him for today. It's my boy Steven. Steven, how are you, man?
I'm great, man. Happy to be here. It has been a long time coming. I think first time we spoke about it was probably the summertime. It was like maybe even before that.
I think it was probably like postseason last year, I think.
Yeah, it was something crazy. I'm glad to be here, man. So it's gonna be fun.
And so he is not the first Eagles fan that we've had on the show. My boy Jalen has been on the show a couple times. When the Cowboys went against the Eagles last year, we had 2 episodes about that. And so, but this time we had to get Steven on because the conversation for this week is very interesting. But we'll get to that in a second. But first, we're going to have some fun with Steven to kind of get him acclimated, get him comfortable with the show. And so I did the same thing with Jalen. I'm going to do the same thing with Steven. Steven, I want you to give us some insight on your Eagles fandom. Like, where did it originate? How long have you been a fan? All those things.
Yeah, so I have been a fan, and I know this sounds cliche, but I've been a fan since I can remember. So I was born in Puerto Rico, and I moved from Puerto Rico to Philadelphia when I was like 5 or 6 years old. And living in Philly, when I moved to Philly, I think the Sixers had just gotten to the finals, which is 2001.
Against Kobe.
Yeah, against Kobe. And so I don't remember watching those games, but like I remember like it was wintertime and stuff like that in the year 2021. So it had to be that same year. But anyway, as I got older, going to school and stuff, I saw people wearing certain like sports gear and whatnot, and my dad's like a huge sports guy. Like since he was a kid, he was also born in Philly, but he grew up in Puerto Rico, and so his favorite thing at the time was like baseball. I don't think he started liking football up until we moved to Philly as well.
Yeah.
But baseball was his favorite thing. It still is. And so bro, literally since I moved to Philly, I kind of just grew up watching it, and I fell in love with the team. And around that time as well, the Eagles were doing really, really good. They went to like 3 or 4 straight NFC championships with 1 Super Bowl appearance, and obviously they lost. I remember that like it was yesterday. Me and my dad went to we went to like a sporting goods store and bought jerseys and everything for that, and so I remember all that. So it was a fun time to be a fan at that time, and even though we lost to Brady, it sucked. But man, I've been a fan since those days, dude. Since the early Andy Reid days, and it's been good and bad. So
I mean, so talk to me about when the Eagles finally pulled it off, when they beat Tom Brady.
Yeah.
Even after Brady threw 505, a Super Bowl record, but Nick Foles, the savior of the season. Tell me how it felt. Tell me how it felt as an Eagles fan. Take us through the emotional roller coaster that was that season, because if people don't remember, I think it was 2017. Carson Wentz is having an MVP-like season.
Yeah.
And then against the Rams, took a brutal hit to the knee. He was never the same after that.
Never the same.
Nick Foles comes in, plays the rest of the year. Steven, take us through the end of that season. What you felt when Wentz went down.
Dude, that year, I remember because that entire year, from like the beginning, we were like underdogs, right? And That's why we got like that. That's where that came from. Like, oh yeah, the hungry dogs run faster type of thing. It's because the entire year the Eagles weren't favored in most of the games, and so, dude, I knew something special was brewing. The moment that Jake Elliott kicked his 60 or 61 yarder against the New York Giants to win the game. That was his first game as an Eagle. We signed him that same week, and he came in and just freaking and never looked back, bro.
Back for real.
And so, yeah, it was that was a really fun year. I think we got off to like a 10-1 start, if I'm not mistaken, same as this year. And I remember the Broncos were really good that year. They had a really, really good defense, and people said, "Oh yeah, we're gonna lose that game." We ended up beating them like 54 to like 11 or 10. I don't remember, something crazy. And so yeah, everything was going amazing. Obviously, that Rams game comes up. We win that game. We win the division. Um, yeah, Carson Wentz gets hit on the knee. What's crazy about that? He comes right back in the game, throws a freaking bullet for a touchdown pass while kind of getting hit again in the legs. And obviously, we knew it wasn't good. Ended up being an ACL, out for the season. We had Foles as our backup. People were like, "Oh man, the season's over. Like, there's no way we're gonna be able to like go to the Super Bowl. There's no way we're gonna win it if we don't even get there." But me, I'm one of those fans that try to remain positive. If I'm not, I'm barely, if any, gonna talk trash on any team. I'm always like, I'm an evaluator. Like, I do not talk at all. I'm just trying to watch the game. If I hear chirping over here, then obviously I'm gonna, But I was always one of those guys that's like, people forget that in 2010 or no 2013, Nick Foles had like one of the greatest freaking seasons for a quarterback in NFL history.
28 touchdowns, 2 picks.
Yep. And so I'm like, do people not forget who this guy is? And in that year he came in as a backup as well. So it's like it's the same position. If anything, he has even a better team now than what he did then. And so I was like, man, we'll be fine, bro. Like, don't worry. And so first 2 games, he lays an egg. He plays terribly. We end up winning the games, but it was horrible, dude. And that's when I was like, maybe we don't have a chance. But I'm also like that guy that I'm like, they're probably just saving all the good stuff for the playoffs because they already have a play. They already clinched type of thing. And so, yeah, playoffs come around, man. Nick Foles, I think the first game was against the Falcons. That game went down to the wire. I think the Falcons had like a 1st and goal. That was probably the most stressful minute of my life watching that game, dude. Because they literally had a 1st and goal, and we stopped them on every single down. And that was amazing. I was like, okay, we're in the championship game now. Like it's starting to become a little real. But we were playing against Minnesota. That year, you guys remember, Stephon Diggs had that miracle touchdown grab.
Miracle.
Yeah, bro. I remember when that happened, dude. I was like, they're destined to win it. Like, there's no way that they're not gonna win the Super Bowl year. With that happening, I was like, these guys are winning the Super Bowl. Like, that's it. We're gonna get blown out at home, and they're just gonna. And so the game starts. Of course, they go right down the field, and I forgot who was the quarterback at that time for them.
Case Keenum.
Case Keenum, dude. Bro, that entire championship weekend was weird. You had like Tom Brady, and then you had Blake Bortles, and then you had Case Keenum and Nick Foles. Like, what the heck?
Yeah, it was like the worst starting 4
other
than Brady in NFL history in championship games. I remember that.
Yeah, and so Case Keenum comes right down the field and throws a beautiful pass to his tight end, and I'm like, oh crap, man, it's about to be one of those games where they're just gonna, they're just gonna blow us out. But then the pass rush gets to him a little bit, and he throws a little dud, and Patrick Patterson grabs it and scores a pick 6, and I was like, yeah, it's over. Like, you can just feel it in the air. After that, the Eagles never looked back. They obviously blew them out. And I was still in shock. Like I couldn't believe we made it back to the Super Bowl because after we lost that the Super Bowl 39, I was like, man, I don't think we're ever gonna make it. Like we're always coming up short. It sucks honestly, and not
Yeah.
having won one at that too. It's like when are we gonna win one? Like just give me one in
Mhm.
my lifetime, I'll be happy. And
Yeah.
so I still didn't. I still didn't fully process. Super
Yeah.
Bowl Sunday comes around, man, and obviously everything that happened in that game, that was
Yeah.
probably the most amazing, in my opinion. Not just because the Eagles won and because we played Brady
No,
and
it was
stuff.
very, very entertaining Super Bowl. I mean,
That
it was
had to
back
be
and
one of the
forth.
best Super Bowls ever, dude. Like,
Yeah, I
um,
agree. Yeah.
and then Tom Brady threw for 500 yards. And it's like I remember people saying, "Oh, the Eagles got lucky or whatever." I'm like, bro, Tom Brady had the greatest game in his career, and we
Yeah.
were still able to pull it
Mhm.
off. Like I cried, dude. Like the moment that he freaking threw that Hail Mary and the ball dropped in the end zone, bro. Me and my dad were just crying, and
Yeah.
it was unreal, dude.
Love it, bro.
I would pay to see that to feel that again. To be honest,
Yeah.
it was
And so now going on to our last two, and then we'll kind of get into some discussion
yeah.
about your. So this is like speed round, kind of your favorite player
Okay.
currently right now, and your favorite player all time historically.
Hold on one sec. iTunes opening. What the heck is this? We can edit this out, guys.
It's a,
I
yeah.
don't
It's
know why that happened. What the heck? Okay, we're back. Sorry,
okay.
repeat that again.
Okay. So real speed round, real quick. Your favorite
Okay,
current player and
okay,
your favorite player historically of all time.
okay. I'll start with my favorite historical player, Brian Dawkins. The guy was a freaking beast at safety, bro. You do not want to run in the
Mhm.
middle when he was playing, dude.
Mhm.
Like, I
Yeah.
mean, I remember
Definitely hard
I remember
hitting.
watching the '04 game against Atlanta, bro, and he freaking
Mhm.
laid out LJ Crumpler, I think was his name, and
Mhm.
Brian Dawkins was just a dog, bro. Like, and
Just
what I
he's
love about
different.
him, he was just built different, bro. When he stepped out on that field, there was a reason why they called him the Wolverine. Like, the guy
Mhm.
was just a menace, bro. And what I loved about him most, and it's probably like the littlest thing, but like if you watch any of his like mic'd up moments, bro, he
Oh yeah.
never cursed, dude. Never.
Mhm.
He's always like dog on it, or like he never said a curse word, but like he would
Wholesome.
say the silliest things, but
Yeah.
it's like intimidating, like it's crazy. And so yeah, B Dog, man. B Dog is my guy. I think current player right now, man, there's just so many good players on our team right now, bro. Obviously, Hertz is one of the guys that everyone likes. Um,
Mhm.
I love AJ Brown, dude. AJ Brown is a dog. Like when they say he's always open, he is always open, like legit. Um,
Yeah, man.
and
Can't
maybe
plan for him.
Kelsey, yeah, and maybe Kelsey,
Oh
dude.
yeah.
Like Kelsey's just a Philly legend. He's never gonna have to pay for anything whenever he goes out in Philly.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's true.
for sure.
Mhm.
For
You know,
sure.
100%.
so I would say
That
those
might be the
three.
reality anywhere he goes, really.
Yeah,
These
dude.
days,
And
Kelsey's
so
Hall of Famer.
yeah,
First ballot Hall of Famer.
First ballot.
100%,
Absolutely.
100%, dude, 100%. But if I had to pick one, it would probably be Jalen Hurts right now,
Okay.
because and that was very tough for me to say because I was the biggest Jalen Hurts like critic. Like when he
Mm.
became our starting
Wow.
quarterback, bro, I did not like the guy at all because he would make the stupidest decisions on the field, dude. And I'm like, why did we give up a good passer, pocket passer quarterback at the time, even though he wasn't
Mhm.
the best either? But it's like
Mhm.
Right.
it just yeah, I was the biggest critic and I didn't believe in him, but he's made me into a believer. I mean, the guy works hard and it shows. Like every single
Yep.
year he progresses. Even with the terrible offensive coordinator that we have, but that's another discussion.
Yeah.
He's
Mhm.
been progressing every single year, man, and he's earned my respect, that's for sure. And the guy's a
Yeah.
baller. He's a dog, and like Daniel, you said it one time, like he's just a winner. He knows how to win. He's built for it, and
Yeah.
that's ultimately
Yeah.
what you want in a franchise quarterback. So
Yeah. For sure. So tell me, kind of, this will be what sets the tone
yeah,
because I'll tell you what I believe about my Cowboys. David, you can
yeah,
say what you believe about it. My expectations for my Cowboys this year are one and done. That's what I believe. I don't believe we'll go anywhere beyond that based on what I've seen this year, based on the coaching that we have. That I just believe if the season ended right now, we're playing Atlanta in the wild card. We'll beat them, right? And then we have to go to San Francisco, most likely, and play San Francisco. And so that, for me, already does not bode well for my confidence in this team. David, last time we spoke, you were kind of coming. So we have two Stevens. We have my boy Steven down here and then another Steven Savage. So for the sake of, I guess, the rest of the time, we have these two on the show. This will be Steven.
Yeah.
The other one will be Savage. David, you were kind of coming to the side of me and Savage of like, hey, maybe this is a one and done team. Do you still feel that way right now?
I do. You know, I mean, we can go ahead and get into it. I mean, that Seattle game offensively was a great game for us. I think Dak Prescott has solidified himself as a top MVP candidate. We talked about, you know, Tony Romo and that moment for him, which for him, I think it was probably like 2013, 2014, to where everything just clicked for him. Where the offense, he had figured out how to play the quarterback position and play it at an elite level, limiting his turnovers and making the plays that he needs to win football games. I think Dak Prescott right now has hit that moment already at the age of 30. He's playing the best ball of his career by far. And he's done everything that you want him to do, unless you're LaShawn McCoy, which is play a terrible football game and then still win it. And then you'll be, then you're a good quarterback. Well, the reality is that what you want to see is your quarterback play fantastic throughout the game. But then when you need him to make a play, which was the knock on him when we played Philadelphia, you know, a couple weeks ago, is Dak played good the entire game, but when he needed to make the play that he needed to, he didn't make it. And this Seattle game, he made the plays that he needed to win the game. So my concern is not from an offensive perspective. It is, though, defensively. I mean, defensively, Seattle had gone 7 quarters not scoring a touchdown. So then you get 35 put on you. And they made the stop that they needed to. Yeah, no one did. And so, yes, you made the stop that you needed to, but against San Francisco, like, are you going to be able to do that? Now, the offense, I will say, looks differently this time around than it did in week 5, for sure. And Dak, again, is playing at an elite level. So do I expect the game to be closer than it was last time? Absolutely. But I think San Francisco is at a different level. And if we have to play them in the divisional round, I don't see us winning that game. So, yeah, I would say right now that we're one and done.
Yeah, and, you know, talking about Seattle, I'll tell you what I thought about the game. At the beginning of the year, all I heard, the narrative around the Cowboys is this team will go as far as Micah Parsons and this defense will carry us. I've been on this, I don't want to say rant. I've been of this opinion.
Probably
I think Thanksgiving.
Right?
I think like Thanksgiving.
I think it was Arizona.
I think this specific thing, though, I think is different from what you're thinking.
Okay.
I think Micah Parsons is overrated. I think Micah Parsons is overrated. And here's why I say that.
Really?
When you play a team like San Francisco or the Philadelphia Eagles, and you're supposed to be the next Lawrence Taylor, that's what was said about him. He disappears. Has he had his moments this year? Of course. You talk about the Carolina game against the Chargers, right? But is he doing that consistently against good competition? Not mediocre to very bad, but great competition. He's not doing that. Now, if you want to say, well, he's being triple teamed and he's being held almost every single play, fine, whatever. But I'm telling you, this defense has been a disappointment to me this season. It has. Because it's easy to play against Zach Wilson. It's easy to play against Daniel Jones and Danny DeVito, Tommy DeVito. That's easy.
Play against Sam Howell.
Sam Howell, a turnover machine.
Even though he threw for 3. Even though he threw for over 300
The poor
yards.
man's Josh Allen.
Yeah.
It's easy to play against those guys. But can you stop the Jalen Hurts, the Lamar Jacksons, the Brock Purdy's? Brock Purdy. You can't even stop Brock Purdy. And so now I'm in the belief that we will go as far as Dak takes us, not the defense. Because this defense has a lot of work to do. A lot of work to do. And so for me, that's the only thing that's changed in my opinion, is that what I thought was the strength of this team, or what they try to push as a narrative as the strength of this team, is now a weakness of the team. Because you have Philly coming into town, you have Buffalo right after that, then Miami right after that, and then Detroit. That's a gauntlet. That's going to be a test for this defense. Can they figure it out? Now, Steven, my brother knows this, so I'm going to tell you, I'm more of a cynic than I am an optimist.
Yeah.
That's just how I am.
That's true.
Yeah. I would consider you more of a realist.
I'm definitely a realist. Definitely a realist.
Yeah.
That is literally what I put as, like, when we used to do taglines at the end of our names. Yeah. I would put Daniel Gonzalez, Cowboys realist. That's what we did season 1.
Yeah.
And so for me, that's the only thing that's changed. I believe, like David said, I believe Dak Prescott right now is a top MVP candidate. Yeah. Is he number 1? That's a discussion that we can have here pretty soon. I believe he is, just based on statistics and all the things, but David, you can attest to this. I have not been a Dak Prescott supporter.
Nope.
I have not been. I've been called on this show a Dak Prescott hater for a really long time.
Still are.
But he's I mean, I miss Tony, but
we all miss Tony. Like, come on.
Yeah, but this team is drastically different than we were at week 5. Yeah. But I still think that for different reasons, we'll still be a one-and-done team. And so, Steven, I'll ask you the question: what do you believe? What are your expectations, and what do you believe that your Philadelphia team could be at the end of the year? What are they right now?
Yeah. I mean, they have a much better team than last year, like roster-wise. Like, we have stars in every position. After this San Fran game, dude, I expected us to be a little more competitive. I didn't expect us to get blown out. What was it, 49-19 or whatever the heck it was, or
42-19.
42.
Yeah.
I lost count from how much they were freaking killing us, dude. So that game, man, it just exposed our defense a lot. We've been struggling defensively this year with the pass game. And I mean, you saw the freaking game, dude. These guys were wide open the entire game, bro. And I'm just like, man, we had no answer for it. And we're usually a good second half team. But if you'd asked me this question last week, I'm like, bro, we're winning the Super Bowl this year. Like, there's no way they look really good. They're finding ways to win. They're making the plays when when it matters. But after this past game, man, we'll make it to the championship game for sure. I think if we win, I think we have 5 more games left, and we got Dallas, we have Seattle,
we have the Giants, I think,
and
twice.
Then the Giants twice, and the Cardinals. So we could win out on paper, but will they actually do that? Now, if we win 4 out of 5 or 3 out of 5 even, I think we can still lock up that first seed, have that bye week, and just play the divisional. I think we'll win that game. But if we have to play San Fran again, will we get past them? Like, I don't know. I really do not know. It's tough to tell. If I'm being realist, I think we'll make it to the championship game. But if we play Arizona, if we play San Fran, I don't know if we'll get through. If we play someone else, another team, if some other team eliminates them, then I think we can definitely, because bro, the AFC, I don't see like a legit contender.
Yeah,
from,
me either.
Like I'll still pick Kansas City, even though that they're struggling this year. I'll still pick them to go to the Super Bowl, and I think we can beat them. So
especially this year. I think like the only contender
you
I see,
already beat them this year. You guys already beat them,
right?
Year.
Yeah,
right. And I can outside of maybe Lamar Jackson and Tua that's their only competition in the AFC with the loss. I mean I don't know what the report is on Trevor Lawrence, what he looks like after that ankle injury on Monday night. I don't know if he finishes the year. But if he's out, they're done.
Yeah.
And 100%. So they were at the number 1 seed on Monday night, and again, Kansas City gets another break.
Yeah.
And so with their receiving core depleted and just non-existent, frankly, but every quarterback in that conference is going down.
Yeah.
And
so Trevor Lawrence.
Go ahead.
Oh, Trevor Lawrence has a high ankle sprain, so he didn't break his ankle, and he's a day-to-day decision for the Browns this week.
It's just tough because a high ankle sprain at this point of the season is terrible.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Terrible. It's
not
even something that. Yeah, go.
Even before that, Jacksonville is not a team that you're necessarily scared of either. I mean, they got romped by the 49ers or like coming off their bye as well. And so, I mean, really in the AFC, there's no contender. There's no team that you look at in the AFC and you said, man,
this is it. This is the team.
The Lombardi trophy is going to that city.
Yeah.
I think when you look in the NFC, you know that in that championship game, whoever wins that game is going to win the Super Bowl.
100%.
That's just how you feel right now.
Yeah, and
I agree.
Yeah, and so that's why I feel the way I feel.
Okay.
So we'll see, man. I'll let you know next week after what happens this weekend.
Hey, we're gonna definitely do a debrief on what that is.
Because I'm gonna be honest, after last week too, the way Brock Purdy did what he did to us, bro, that can do it even better, So we'll see what happens. Now we did sign Shaquille Leonard, who's like a 3-time Pro Bowler, All-Pro linebacker, which is we desperately needed that because you saw what happened against San Fran.
Yeah, he's better than what you got right now, for sure.
Yeah, dude. I think out of I think Brock Purdy had like just under 300 yards, but I think out of that, 175 yards were accounted from Nicholas Morrow, who's our middle linebacker right now.
Wow.
And
yeah,
if that doesn't tell you anything, then I don't know what will. So I'm glad that we picked up Shaquille Leonard, and I'm glad he chose us ultimately because I think he visited Dallas actually.
Yeah, I mean that was the competition. It was kind of like a battle of, is it the Cowboys or is it the Eagles?
Bro, and I thought he was going to Dallas. I
didn't.
I felt 100%. I felt 100% he was going to Philly.
Yeah, and here's the reason why, Steven. Here's some Cowboys insider for you on how Dallas operates as a franchise.
Yeah.
The Cowboys don't believe in signing free agents. They just don't believe in it. Jerry Jones does not believe.
Other than T.Y. Hilton.
Or guys with criminal records. That's the only free agents that Dallas signs.
Yeah.
They don't believe that if there's a player like Shaq Leonard's caliber, if he's not going to take a veteran minimum, they won't sign him.
Yeah.
That's just how Jerry works. So there was never a belief in my mind that the Cowboys would sign Shaq Leonard. I always thought that he would go to the Eagles. I believe Howie Roseman is one of those GMs is like, hey, I'm not afraid to spend some money.
Yeah.
I'm not afraid to sign a player mid-season if it's going to help us win football games.
Yeah.
Dallas is different. Dallas doesn't believe in that. And so I never believed for a minute that he was going to go anywhere other than Philly, because I think he looked at the totality of the NFL. One, what team needs me more? Two, what team gives me the best opportunity to win a Super Bowl this year?
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I mean, the 49ers weren't going to sign him. They're loaded.
Oh, dude.
They're loaded at
right now.
linebacker. Yeah.
So the next best option is Philly. So that's where I always believe that he was going to go. But to turn the conversation to a really important one, the MVP for this year. We kind of alluded to it as we described the two players, Jalen Hurts, Dak Prescott. Steven, who do you believe at this moment in time deserves the MVP?
You're gonna
and
be
why?
surprised. You're gonna be surprised by this answer.
Okay.
I have no idea how Jalen Hurts is on top right now, or I think he's second in MVP.
Yeah, he's
odds.
second right now.
I think he's third.
Or he might have
Is he?
dropped. Yeah.
Well, because I think Dak Prescott and Brock Purdy currently are tied for the best odds. So
okay.
he'd be 3.
So there you go. Yeah.
Okay.
So Hurts was first prior to this past weekend's game.
Yes, he was. Yeah,
Yes,
he
he
was.
was.
And so I'm a realistic fan. I love Hurts and he's freaking killing it, bro. But I just don't see how he's been number one in MVP voting when you got gunslingers like Purdy, Prescott has been turning it up, Lamar Jackson has been playing amazing this year. So I don't know why Hurts was ranked number one when he hasn't even had his best season.
What's your criteria for the MVP? When you think of MVP, what are you looking for?
Man, I need numbers to stand out, bro. Like I need like 20 touchdowns and like 1 interception, 3,000 passing yards. Like I need something insane. And Hurts, he's statistically, I think he's had better numbers at this point than last year. But performance-wise, watching the games, he hasn't been nowhere near close as last year.
Yeah,
and I think that's a product of the offensive coordinator, because we have not put him in a good position.
100%,
to make plays.
Mhm.
Like who the heck throws 3 straight screen passes to the same side is beyond. I think that was against the Chiefs or the Cowboys. No, I think it was against the Chiefs.
it's Chiefs. Yeah, Chiefs game. Yeah.
And I'm
absolutely.
just like, dude, like, and who the heck runs a quarterback draw on 3rd and 7 in your own side of the field, down in a game. Like, it just doesn't make sense. So I feel like those things have really hurts a lot this year.
Yeah.
So I just don't see why he was considered an MVP caliber.
Yeah.
Not MVP caliber. He's an MVP caliber quarterback, but I don't think he should have been number one
in the conversation.
Yeah, in the conversation. He's shown flashes of it.
Yeah.
Like I said, the guy's clutch. He's a baller when the team needs him to be. And so I think that's probably the reason why he was up there. So I'll give him that. But I think as a whole, like complete game, I don't know why.
And I had those same reservations too. I think back at our Thanksgiving episode, we were talking about the MVP, David, and I said Jalen Hurts is in the conversation for sure.
Yeah.
But this was a topic of conversation on Undisputed between Keyshawn, Sherm, and Skip about how Richard Sherman didn't believe he was an MVP candidate, just like us.
Yeah.
And for the same reason. And the excuse that Keyshawn gave onto why Jalen Hurts was an MVP candidate is because by the end of the year, his touchdown total will be impressive. Now, you can tell me what you think about this, David and Steven, but I brought up the point that his rushing touchdowns will be impressive on paper.
Yeah.
But if you look at where they're coming from, for me, I don't recognize those as running scores because of the touch push at the goal. I don't count those in my MVP analysis. I just don't. Now, like you, I believe he is in the conversation because of moments.
Yeah.
because he's extremely clutch. Like, I believe I feel with the right offensive coordinator, of course, because I think that's been a big disservice to his game this year, has been just a lack of competency at the offensive coordinator position. But I believe that at the end of games, you put the ball in Jalen Hurts' hands. Do you trust him? Absolutely, 100%. I trust him. And so for me, that's why he was in the discussion. But because of what's been going on the past couple of weeks, right now my front runner is Dak Prescott. It's been Dak. Ever since San Francisco, he's just been the best quarterback in the league. He just has been. And so for me, that's who I have at the head of the table. David, do you believe the same thing? Do you have Dak at number 1 right now?
If we're talking about quarterbacks, I would say, yeah, I have Dak Prescott ahead of everybody. Again, he's playing at an elite level right now. And again, he's done things that you're asking him to do. You want him to blow out the easy teams that he's supposed to be. Okay, he does that. The defense is not showing up. Can you go and can you win us football games? He's done that. But I would say overall, I think Tyreek Hill is probably still my league MVP. I think it's time that we got a receiver to do that. He's breaking records. He's about to set records at the receiver position. If he continues on the pace that he's at right now, he's going to finish the season with 2,200 yards receiving.
Yeah, you took the word out of my mouth. That was going to be my candidate for MVP.
Yeah. So I think it should go to Tyreek. But if we wanna be like college football and have the best quarterback in the league right now, I think it has to go to Dak Prescott. Yeah. He's just performing at a great level. When it comes to Jalen Hurts, yeah, those moments that he has, though, he has those moments more than anybody, any other quarterback in the NFL.
Agreed.
When you need to win the football game, who do you trust? Who's the most valuable to your football team? A lot of people would say Jalen Hurts because it's been whether using his arm or his legs, he's been doing it. He's been making the plays that he needs to, but the numbers aren't there. I think the same could be said for Lamar Jackson, why he isn't up there right now either, because he only has, I think, like 20 touchdowns, total touchdowns, or it might be like 18 or 19 total touchdowns in the season. You're looking at Dak Prescott. He's got 23 passing touchdowns this year. Like, it's insane. And so right now, I would say that it is Dak Prescott.
Now, I have a question for y'all. Do you think – now, I'm not taking anything away from Dak because he's freaking balling this year. But we know his history. Do you think this year what has helped him is having Mike McCarthy as his head coach and a good offensive coordinator?
So I'll go ahead and answer that head on. I think it is, but it's a two-edged sword.
Yeah.
And what I mean by that is I believe that getting Kellen Moore out of Dallas was the best thing for Dak Prescott overall as a player. Kellen Moore wanted him to run a system that Dak just really wasn't comfortable in running. So then you put in Mike McCarthy into that system and said, hey, we're going to do things a different way. I think that helped Dak limit even his turnovers. Yeah. However, it wasn't until after the Chargers game, because again, Mike McCarthy was the play caller from weeks 1 to 6, to where at the end of that stretch, Dak had 7 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. It wasn't until Mike McCarthy said, you know what, Dak? I'm giving you the offense. I'm letting you run it. I'm letting you check out of things. I'm letting you call audibles. I'm letting you change everything that's on the field. Like if Aaron Rodgers said it himself, like since Dak has been given the offense, he's changing pass protections. He's changing routes. He's doing this and this and that. So do I think that Mike McCarthy has helped Dak Prescott? Sure, absolutely. But I think it was Mike McCarthy allowing Dak to be Dak and let him have complete control of the offense that has really elevated his game.
I did not know that. That's actually pretty amazing.
That
gives him more.
Honestly, I wish they would do that with Jalen. Honestly,
Like,
He
yeah,
knows
I think
he knows what works. He
Yeah.
knows the personnel that he has. He knows what works with this offense.
Yeah.
He can be doing the same thing and running the offense, but I just wish they would let him do it, because I believe his knowledge of what happened last year, the fact that he is progressing every single year, he would know how to call his own offense.
Yeah.
And I think we're getting to the day and age where if you're that caliber type of MVP quarterback, you should be allowed to take control of the offense. And I think I don't know if Aaron kind of started that trend or whatever, but Dak, he's proven this year you should probably trust your quarterback a lot more with the offense than you are right now. And so definitely agree.
And just to make a point for even Jalen Hurts again, I watched Jalen Hurts when he was at Oklahoma, because obviously I live in Oklahoma, and my wife and her family, they bleed OU football. When Jalen Hurts was with the Sooners, what you got from him every single week is that he is a selfless player.
Yeah.
He only cares about winning the game. Doesn't care about personal numbers. He doesn't care about stats. So what we could say about Jalen Hurts, if he's running the offense like Dak is running the offense, will Jalen Hurts' numbers be gaudy and insane? Probably not. But will it be probably the most efficient offense that you've ever seen?
Efficiency, yes.
Yeah.
Like
100%.
that is Jalen Hurts' like if because DeAndre Swift is being underutilized in Philly. I think he should be getting the ball more.
Yeah.
Jalen Hurts knows that.
Yeah.
Jalen Hurts knows that, and so he's going to be like, hey, we're giving him the ball like 25 times a game. Whether that's running the football or that's like throwing it to him
passes out of the backfield.
Passes out of
He's
the
a
backfield.
playmaker.
He's a playmaker. I have him on my fantasy team.
Yeah.
He's on my fantasy team, and I wish that they would give him more, because then I'd be doing fantastic. But there's games to where he has 26 fantasy points, and then the next week he has 8. And I'm like, Philly, what are you doing? And so I think with Jalen Hurts, if he had control of this offense, I think you'd see a more efficient Eagles team. I think that Dak has benefited from being able to call the offense.
And that makes like, that's a good point, because if you watch back the Bills game, that last overtime drive, that was all him. He called all the audibles. He did that was all Jalen Hurts. So that alone shows you, like, it makes your point valid. Like, if
he can do it.
Yeah, if
he can do it.
He's shown more control, he can do it, dude. And so I don't know, man.
Yeah.
Something has to be
You're
done.
paying him all this money.
Yeah. Okay. So we've had our nice moments. We've had our fun. We've had our time to agree and to be friendly and cordial to one another. But now it's time to stir the pot. And so this is the segment we're finally going to talk about the game of the week, maybe the game of the year now in the NFL. The Cowboys versus the Eagles, part 2. Now, how this is going to go, Steven, you are going to say how you feel about the Cowboys team right now. What do you believe is going to happen on Sunday? Then after that, David, you're going to have the chance. You've mentioned this, and I showed Steven this.
I have.
You believe that the Eagles have been lucky for the past 4 or 5 weeks, and you're going to get a chance to say why you believe that they've been lucky. But first, Steven, go ahead. The floor is yours. What do you think is going to happen on Sunday? What do you believe about the Dallas Cowboys right now?
Man, obviously, the Dallas Cowboys are a really, really good team. It's like you said, they're playing their best football right now. Offensively. Defensively, they looked a little suspect against Seattle, but they've shown flashes. And I think that's mainly because they're a really aggressive defense, especially like the corners. The reason why Bland has 5 pick sixes or 6 pick sixes?
5.
Five. Yeah, it's because the guy is super aggressive. He's like Diggs. And those balls can go 50-50. If you miss that, they're taking it to the house. And guess what happened against Seattle? He tried to grab one, and DK Metcalf ran it for 75 yards or whatever. So I just mentioned that because I thought it was a good thing to mention. But anyway, well, I think we win the game.
What's your score?
I think it won't be a blowout for sure. It'll be I'm thinking like 31-27 type of deal.
Okay.
31-28 type of thing. Um, I think it's going to go down to Jalen Hurts and driving the offense down the field,
Yeah.
and making the play happen. You know, and so that's what I think. Now, that's what I think realistically. In my heart, I freaking want to
Okay.
destroy you guys. I hope we win like 50-10. But after that San Fran game, I hope these guys come out and just want to freaking chop heads off of these guys' bodies, and
That is very likely impossible that could
yeah,
happen for
but
sure.
it's not gonna happen for sure. It's not gonna happen. It'll be a tight game, which I hope I'm right this time because I said the same thing about the San Fran game and look at what happened.
Yeah.
But I think this one for sure will be a close game. Will there be a couple penalties that people complain about? Absolutely, that's every
Probably.
freaking game.
There's
That's
always
every
going to be that. There's always
Yeah.
going to be that. And just a little side note. How terrible had the refs been this entire year? Just
they've been
across
bad.
the board.
They've been bad.
This is
This
I
has
don't know
been-
what's been worse. I don't know if it's been worse this year or the year where they had the holdout, where they had those like backup refs. Do you remember
Yeah.
that?
Yeah,
I don't know what's
remember.
worse.
I think it's
I
worse,
think it's worse
year
this year. Yes.
because like with backup reps, you'd be like, hey, these aren't like regular refs.
Yeah,
They're just
that's
trying to
true.
do the best that they can.
There's
Yeah.
that
year-
excuse there.
These are the best refs that we have.
Yeah,
I think,
you're right
and
about
it's been a problem. It's been a problem both for the NFL and also for college football.
Yeah,
Like it's been bad. In
So-
both.
Refs have just
In
been terrible this year.
Yeah.
yeah.
But
So I think it'll be a great game overall. I think it's gonna go down to the last 2 minutes. I think Hurts throws for 250, runs for one, throws for a couple, and then Jake Elliott has a couple field goals. I'd say he'll probably nail like a 50-yarder, maybe deeper. The guys just when Jake Elliott's kicking, and Daniel, you know this, and I told you this the other day. When Jake Elliott is kicking the ball, I'm looking at that kick every single time because I know he's gonna make it. The guy's an ATM, bro. He is automatic.
yeah.
And so that's what I expect. I think AJ Brown will have another. I don't know if he'll go over 100 yards, but he'll be close. Devontae Smith has been picking it up as of late, so I think Devontae Smith will be over 100 yards. I think Brown will account for another 80, maybe 90. I think he'll have a touchdown.
Dallas Goedert is coming back.
Dallas Goedert's possibly coming back. I don't expect.
You
It's
don't
like any
expect much
player that
from him.
comes back. It's like any other player that comes back
Gonna
from
be slow.
injury. Like if he'd be fully healthy and he had already been playing, I would have said, oh yeah, Dallas Goedert would catch for like 60 yards, possibly a touchdown. But the thing about him is, you're not gonna see what he does on the on a stat sheet. The guy is a good run blocker.
Yeah.
And so I think that's probably one of the biggest reasons too why we haven't run the ball as much.
Yeah.
But yeah, I expect that, and I expect DeAndre Swift to get the ball hopefully over 20 times this game.
Yeah.
And here's why.
I agree.
This is something. If this wouldn't have happened today, I don't think they would have done it. But this morning, at like 7:30 a.m., Eagles fans showed up to the practice facility with a sign that read "Run the ball" at 7:30 in the morning. So as freaking players are pulling up and like coaches and stuff are pulling up to practice, they see this. And one thing that a lot of Philly fans know, not me in particular, I'm not like a huge like IQ guy, and I don't know like systematic stuff like strategy and all that. But most of the Eagles fans know their football, and they know, hey, run the ball here, throw it here, do this, that. And so hopefully the coaches listen and they actually run the ball more than 8 times, because they ran the ball with Swift 8 freaking times last game, which is horrible. So I'm hoping Swift gets the ball at least 20 times for this game, and hopefully we pull it out at the end, 31-28. So we'll see.
All right. So you heard the score. David, it's time for your rebuttal. First, I want you to say who's going to win the game and why.
Okay.
But then I want you to explain yourself on your Eagles take.
Okay. So, I think Dallas is going to win the game. I would even give it the exact same score, 31-27, just in favor of Dallas. The Cowboys are 15-0 when they play at home.
Yeah.
And in those 15 games, they're averaging 34 points a game at home. Yeah. And so again, I love the way that our offense is playing. I think Dak has hit another level. And I don't see that stopping. I mean, we saw how Philly has been playing all year long, how that defense has been playing. They're not very good. Do they have opportunities to have moments just like Jalen Hurts? Absolutely. I mean, this is a champion. Regardless of how bad they've been playing all year long, they've had moments to where defensive players like Graham or Carter or Reddick will show up in the fourth quarter and make that one play that you need to win the ball game. And so that's still something that needs to be acknowledged and needs to be respected. But when we talk about the last time that the Cowboys played the Philadelphia Eagles, let's take a look at a couple of things. First things first, you have Shoemaker, the play on 4th down and goal, where he was just half of an inch, half of a yard away from scoring. That's 7 points that you take off the board. Dak stepping out of bounds. I don't think Dak is going to do that again next time. I think he's probably going to run over whoever that person is next time, because against Seattle on a 3rd and 8 inside the red zone, Dak was running the corner and he bulldozed the guy that he was that was right in front of him. So I don't think that that's also going to happen again. But you look at those two plays. The final score is 32-28. You look at the numbers and the box scores from that game, and you see this. Jalen Hurts, 17 for 23 for 207. 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. DeAndre Swift, 18 carries, 43 yards. A.J. Brown, 7 catches, 66 yards, and a score. Devontae Smith, 3 catches, 51 yards, and a score. That's good. But then you look at Dallas. Dak Prescott, 29 for 44, 374, 3 touchdowns, no picks. Pollard, not the best day, 12 carries, 51 yards. CeeDee Lamb, 11 catches for 191. Jake Ferguson, 7 catches, 91 yards. You're talking about a Dallas Cowboy team that outgained the Philadelphia Eagles, and if you had a couple plays go our way, that's a different ball game. So I'm more confident now that the Cowboys are going to execute the plays this time around than last time around. When you're talking about Philadelphia being lucky, I mean, let's look at the last games that they've had this season. I mean, Miami, the Commanders, you barely beat them, 34-31, 38-31. Dallas Cowboys beat them 45-10 on Thanksgiving.
Here's the thing about that. I'm like the biggest. Oh yeah, we beat these guys by how many? By how much? But y'all beat them by this much. Like, I get that.
Yeah.
The NFL is a game of matchups, and for years, the Eagles, for some reason, I don't know why, always play close games against Washington. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's the uniform color that they get distracted by or what. But literally for years, every single year, they always have close games like that. So. The only team that we have a number against is the Giants. So I could see.
Well, everybody has their numbers against the Giants. Even the Commanders do. What I will say is this, though, that is a reality also for Dallas, though.
Yeah.
Like, we play them close too. And
you look at
Daniel.
You look at last year.
Yes.
You look at last year, the last game of the season. Sam Howell just threw a party all over Dallas. Dallas lost that game they got blown out in that game at home, or not home, away.
On the road.
And also like a couple years back in Thanksgiving, Washington just completely destroys us on national television.
Yeah.
And it's so for me, I always felt that Washington, for some reason, also had our number as well.
And yeah. But
go
then
ahead.
you look at the Kansas City game. If MBS catches that ball, we're having a different conversation. Buffalo.
If he catches that ball, it's a touchdown, and we have like a minute and some change left, and with Jalen Hurts at QB,
and you have an opportunity. You have an opportunity. For sure. But that's still another game that also has there's some notes in there. There's some notes in there. Then you even look at Buffalo. You have some notes in there as well, because if Allen and Dave, was it Davis?
Yeah, Gabe Davis.
It was like a miscommunication thing.
Yeah, there was page in that play. Game's over.
Yeah,
and so,
game's over. Yeah.
And then you even look at the games of the Cowboys having common against New England Patriots. Eagles win it 25-20. Cowboys win 38-3. Then you look at the Rams game. Eagles only won by 6. Cowboys won 33-10. Then you have the New York Jets. Cowboys win 30-10. And with that still, Zach Wilson, Eagles lose 20-14. And so if you're even looking at our common components, like Dallas has been playing when we play our best football. Here's what I think. I think the Eagles right now, they're playing the best football that they can possibly play. I don't think they get better than this. Not unless you fire your offensive coordinator, because I think offensively that's the issue. But I don't see that problem changing. I think that's going to continue. So when I look at this Eagles team this year, I'm going to change what I was going to say earlier. And what I told Daniel.
I talked you out of it. Well,
I think you talked me out of it, and then I reminded of who the offensive coordinator was this time around.
Yeah, exactly. That was my point.
What I was going to say is that I think Philly, if you look at last year, the fact that Brock Purdy didn't play, he was knocked out 3 plays into the game. I was going to be like, you look at that Eagles NFC Championship run, it kind of looks fraudulent. But when you recognize that the offense looked completely different because of who your offensive coordinator was, that changes the story. And I think for the Eagles,
no, sorry to interrupt. I was going to say, like, that year, I think San Fran was ranked like number 2 or number 1 defensively. So it's
defensively, yeah.
So it's we dropped 31 against them. It's a whole other discussion. But
and like I was telling David when he brought that up, was like at first I believed that as well, but then kind of looking back, reanalyzing last year, I feel like Philly was a way better team last year than they are this year.
100%.
Offensively, 100% way better last year than they are.
I think
this
it's a
year.
180.
Even defensively, they were one of the best teams at getting turnovers. Right now, they're one of the worst.
Yeah,
and also getting sacked last year.
Exactly. I think their front seven is still. I believe their front seven is still as good. Well, not front seven because your linebackers have to count for something. Yeah. I think the defensive line is amazing.
It's good.
You have Fletcher Cox. You have Jordan Davis,
Brandon Graham, Jalen Carter,
Graham. Like you don't get much better than that. I believe that part of their defense is still elite.
Yeah,
I just believe the back end, the linebackers, the secondary is way worse than it was last year.
That's been our struggle.
And I believe that for the people who are out there who is saying the 49ers with Brock Purdy would have beat the Eagles of last year, I don't know that to be true because the teams are different. The offense of the Philadelphia Eagles was way better than it was last year.
Yeah.
Even the defense, and David thought last year, and I believe too, that the defense was a little bit suspect last year, but not to this degree that it is this year.
Yeah. Last year they were more a bend but don't break type of defense.
Right.
They had a lot of stuff, but they made plays when it mattered. Obviously, they took out Brock 33 plays into the game, and they took out their backup quarterback as well.
Yeah.
And I think
you're talking about.
Go ahead.
Well, what I will say though is that I don't think that you blow out the San Francisco 49ers
Oh
if
no,
Brock Purdy's in the game. I think it's a
no,
much closer game.
100%.
But I still think the
completely
result's
agree.
still the same.
The results still might be the same. But I think when we're talking about the Eagles team this year, this is why I don't believe that they're going to beat Dallas, nor do I think, and just stay with me here. This could be a possibility, but it probably won't be a possibility. I'd love to see it personally. Let's say that the Eagles, because here's what's going to happen. Let's say the Eagles do drop this game, right? And we're tied 10-3. Dallas, at the moment, will have first place. However, we talked about the Eagles' schedule. They're going to win out. They're going to win out.
I believe
no
so.
ifs, ands, or buts about it. They're going to win out. I mean, you play the Giants twice. You play the Arizona Cardinals. Then you play who else did they play?
Seahawks.
They play the Seahawks. I mean, that's a win, I would say. So you have 4 more games left in the season. You're going to win them all.
Yeah.
Even if the Cowboys win out, which is going to be very hard for us to do, even if we win out, the Philadelphia Eagles still have a better conference record than Dallas, so they automatically win the division.
Yeah.
Even if we went out. But let's say the 49ers, though, if they win out, they're going to have the number 1 seed.
Yeah.
Because they beat both Dallas and Philly.
Yeah.
So then now we're talking about Philadelphia and maybe Dallas playing in the divisional round.
Yeah.
If that happens, we need Steven to come back on the show
100%.
because I think that if we, because of all the issues that we're talking about, again, it could all change. Like if Johnson figures out how to call this offense, if he finally listens to Philly fans and even myself and says, hey, we're going to utilize Swift more. We're going to put Jalen Hurts in positions to where he can use his legs more, get outside of the pocket, because you rarely find a better quarterback than Jalen Hurts outside the pocket, using his legs, throwing the ball downfield. I mean, we saw it against Dallas of him doing it. If they do figure it out, then that's a different. But the way that this Eagles team is playing right now, the way that they're playing right now, I would have Dallas be still over Philadelphia. With the way that both teams are playing right now. Yeah. But this week's going to be the test. This is the week where we're going to see. It's also how you deal with adversity. Philadelphia has not really had to deal with a game like this in a very, very long time.
Yeah,
they've either been winning
teams, and in the past couple 2 years or something like that.
Yeah. So, but I don't think they've been blown out like this in years.
No, they have. I don't believe so.
So now you're looking at a Philadelphia Eagles team that has championship veterans on the football team. You have the Brandon Grahams, you have the Travis Kelce's, you have just the culture. When you get blown out like this, you're always going to want to see how they respond. And so if I'm nervous about anything in this game, it is an angry Philadelphia team with something to prove. Yeah. Because I think, you saw it even last week. They had the best record in pro football. And they were underdogs at home. Yeah. Underdogs at home. And so now you're looking at a team that just got blown out by the San Francisco 49ers. Everyone has taken you off of the best team in the league right now. Philly's angry. So that, to me, that's the part that's making me a little bit nervous, is because I feel like I know that Philly is going to respond. I know that they're going to show up and they're going to play and they're going to be ready to, as Steven said, chop off our heads off of our bodies. Like they're going to be coming with that kind of mentality. The question is, what kind of Cowboys team are we going to get? Are we going to get the Cowboys team?
That's what I'm worried about.
Because and to me, this is where you have to look at Mike McCarthy. You have to look at Mike McCarthy, because in years past, we've seen a Mike McCarthy-led Dallas Cowboys team in these kinds of games start off slow. In the first quarter, non-existent. In the first quarter, turning the ball over, letting big plays happen. If that happens in this game, then I would even go as far as to say if we meet Philadelphia in the playoffs, Philly's winning. Because this is the big game. We talked about the Cowboys record all year long of, they're 9-3, but the biggest win that they've had all year has been against the Seattle Seahawks. That's the biggest win of their of the season. This is the game that you have to win. If you want people to think that you're going to go far in the playoffs, if you want Dak, if you want to be known as the league MVP this year, you have to play and you have to show up and you have to make the plays, period. Because Jalen Hurts does.
Yeah.
So this is, I think, I know this wasn't a question that we're going to ask, but Steven, I'm going to ask you, and Daniel, I want you to answer as well. For this game, with what's on the line, who needs this game more? Dallas or Philadelphia?
Philly for sure.
I disagree. I think Dallas needs this game more. And here's why. Because we haven't beaten anyone. You beat the Chiefs. You beat the Bills.
That's true.
We haven't, like David said, the biggest win that we have right now has been against Seattle. That's it.
Yeah, you're right.
Now, do I think that means that Philly they should not show up and play? No, I don't think that. Because there is benefits to the Eagles winning, or why they would need this win. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying that Philly doesn't need this win, because they do need this win. Yeah. But Dallas needs it more.
Yeah.
Because we haven't beaten anyone, and Philly already has a game up on Dallas right now. So if you split, theoretically, I believe Eagles fans, if they lose this game won't mean anything to them. That's what I believe. Yeah. Because
I know we got an Eagles fan right here.
I don't know. I think to me it's more emotionally than anything. It's like, as Eagles fans, we look forward to Dallas week all year, and it's like, this is not the game you want to lose whatsoever.
And maybe if Philly beats
Cowboys fans
San Francisco, and I think if Philly beat San Francisco last week, then it would be more like, we just beat the 49ers. Like, so we'll split the series. Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But I do believe just for where both teams are right now, Dallas needs this game a little more than Philly does right now.
Yeah.
It also depends on how this game shakes out.
Yeah.
Because if Dak, and again, I don't believe this, but if Dak comes out in this game and he throws 3 interceptions, the offense looks terrible, and it's a close back and forth game still, and Philly pulls it out and wins it at the end, I think that's going to hurt the Cowboys a lot, because then the narrative is going to be like, see, when they play big teams, when they play these important games, they don't show up. They don't play. And that's going to be more detrimental than if Philly shows up, throws their best punch, loses the game by what we said, 4 points. Yeah. Like, you're going to look at a couple of things and be like, Philly's okay. It's just Brian Johnson or Bill Johnson. I don't remember what his name is. Is it Brian Johnson?
Yeah, Brian Johnson.
It's gonna it's big because Philly knows it. The only reason why they're losing right now is because of Brian Johnson. That's it. If you had your offensive coordinator of last year, I think the Eagles very might well be undefeated right now. Honestly,
is it too late to get Frank Reich back? Is it too late?
Here's the thing. I don't know if we got Frank Reich back, I don't think it'd be the same Frank Reich from 2017.
That's true. Yeah, I agree with that.
I don't think it'd be the same. And like, I'm hearing people, oh yeah, bring him back. It's like, one, we're already 5 games left of the season. They're not going to make a change this way.
Well, I'm saying for next year. I'm saying for next year.
Next year,
I would give him the shot, because here's the thing: Frank Reich is a former player. He just knows how to develop and grow quarterbacks. He just knows how to do it.
Yeah, but he had Bryce Young, and he did nothing to develop him.
He didn't want Bryce Young.
I know, but you.
That's true.
He didn't want him. That matters.
Yeah.
That matters.
Yeah.
That matters. You wanting a quarterback has to mean something, because I believe if Frank Reich believes in Jalen Hurts, he will build a system to help him. That's what he didn't do with Bryce Young because he didn't want him.
I think Frank Wright was a one-hit wonder in Philadelphia.
Wow.
I don't think that he is that kind of coach still today. That's just how I feel. I don't think that Frank Wright. Now, if you get an your offense coordinator, but I mean he's in Arizona, so he's going to be, or is he in Indianapolis now?
No, he's in our defensive coordinator is in Arizona, Jonathan Gannon.
Yeah.
And then, to be honest, I
Yeah.
forgot the name of our offensive coordinator last year. I don't even know where he's at. But
I think he's in Indianapolis right now. He has that team playing extremely well with Gardner Minshew. I mean, they're 7-5. The Colts are 7-5 this year. So I would trust him more, but he's doing great things in Indianapolis. So, and here's the thing, you just need somebody who will recognize what you have on that team and utilize their abilities to the max.
Yeah.
Doesn't even have to be Frank Wright. It just, I mean,
it's
not
common
Kellen
sense.
Moore, I'll tell you that much.
Just run the ball 20 times a game with your star running back.
At least.
Just to set up the pass game, because, dude,
Mm-hmm.
how can you set up a pass game running it 8 times a game? It's impossible.
Right.
You're trying to give everything to Hurts, and it's like Hurts can only do so much when you're in a one-dimensional offense. It just doesn't work that way. And so,
I agree.
With Frank Reich, I mean, his offense was amazing in 2017. So I don't see why he would, come back and do well. But you also have like that fear of like, dang, maybe that was just a 1-year type of thing. Because it should translate into head coaching. I mean, if you did it great and as an OC, then as a head coach, I feel like you're running everything.
Mm-hmm.
You have all, you make all the final calls. So I feel like it should be even better. But like you said, he did it with Bryce Young. He didn't want that quarterback, or Chase Young, whatever his name is.
I agree.
And so now Shane Steichen, that's who our offensive coordinator was.
That's who he was last year. Is in Indianapolis this year, having a great year, despite losing his number 1 pick quarterback. 7-5 right now.
Such a good year, because he's having a good year, I can say, if we have Shane Steichen back, we would freaking be killing it right now.
Obviously that's not. Obviously that's not.
It's not gonna happen. But so David, anyway, I'm
hoping that Brian Johnson turns a corner, because there's so much talent on this football team, dude.
There is.
This is the most talented roster in the league, in my opinion, and for it to be going to waste the way that it is unfortunate.
Yeah, definitely agree. Well, David, my part of the show is done, and so now it's time for us to move to our last segment. Steven, you're going to be a part of this. It's called Pick 'em.
Yeah.
So we're going to go through every game like we usually do, pick who wins the game. David, I see on my notes here, I'm seeing a little discrepancy in our score. I thought you were only up by 1 last week.
No, I was up by 2 last week. I was up by 2 games.
David was 8-5.
Yeah.
David was 8-5 last week. I was 10-3. I was just on 1 last week.
Yeah.
And so that brings our score to an even. Now we're tied at 93 and 56 for the year. And so, David, do you want to take, or do you want me to run with this?
Yeah, you run with it, bro. You run with it. It's your show.
All right. First game,
it's your time.
New England.
It's your show.
I'm dead. First game, New England versus Pittsburgh, Thursday Night Football. Steven, who do you got in this game?
I got the Pittsburgh Steelers winning this game.
Yeah, I can't.
21-14.
There's just not a way from, like, I don't think New England's gonna score. I honestly don't believe they're gonna score.
Honestly, you're right.
They have a tough time just scoring in general. And so I believe that, even with Pittsburgh, I don't know if Kenny Pickett's going to play. I think he got injured last week. I'm not sure. But Mitchell Trubisky is, for me, I don't feel like he's a bad backup. I think he's a good backup.
Yeah, he has the experience.
New England is just a dumpster fire, so I believe Pittsburgh's going to win as well. David?
It's a mid-off. I think the Steelers are going to win it, but I think the final score is going to be probably 7-3, if I were to guess it. I think Pittsburgh is a fraudulent 7-5 team. They have probably one of the worst offensive coordinators.
Well, they fired him. So
they fired him. I don't see this team doing any better without him, though.
yeah.
Until they bring in somebody who's actually good. So, but I mean, but is there really any worse team in the NFL right now than the New England Patriots, other than Carolina? Like, come on.
Yeah.
I would consider the Patriots worse. I would consider them the worst just because of the expectation, having the coach that they have and all that.
Yeah.
There's no reason
and
for
the
them
thing
to
is
be
that
2-7 or 2-8.
Yeah, but I mean, they have Bill Belichick as their head coach, who's a defense, and their defense has been playing fantastic this year. They just got no offense. Absolutely, they have no offense. So I'm going Pittsburgh.
Yeah. So next game, Tampa Bay versus Atlanta. The first time that these teams faced off was in October. Falcons squeaking out a victory versus Tampa Bay, 16-13. I'm gonna take Atlanta. I just believe that their run game is going to be enough. They have a top 10 defense, obviously. And so I just believe Baker and that team, they need a little bit more pieces, a little bit more help to actually be a contender in the NFC South. So I'm taking Atlanta in this game.
Yeah. Give me the Falcons.
Yeah.
In this one.
I don't know how good or bad Baker Mayfield's been playing this year. I haven't been keeping up with the Buccaneers.
I think for the fact that
average.
He's been okay. He's been okay. He's been average. But I think that Atlanta has a better run game that carries them a whole long way, and their defense is pretty good. So that's why I'm taking Atlanta.
Okay. I'll take Atlanta as well then. I was gonna be a rebel and choose the Bucks, but
I'm dead. And I've been caught in that a couple times, and they always let me down. Okay, so next game, the Rams versus Baltimore. I'm gonna take Baltimore in this game. I think for me, this is pretty easy, and so we're all going Baltimore. Next, Detroit versus Chicago.
Detroit.
It got close. It got close the last time.
I don't think they're going to let it get close again. I don't think they will.
Yeah, I'm going to take Detroit as well. So we all have Detroit. Indianapolis versus...
I will say before you move on, I thought Detroit was going to beat Green Bay the other day.
Oh, on Thanksgiving?
Yeah, Thanksgiving.
Yes.
Yeah.
I thought Detroit was going to manhandle them like they did the first time.
That's what we thought, but hey, well, we'll get to Green Bay, but they've been playing absolutely out of their mind the past couple of weeks. But yeah, now we got Indianapolis versus Cincinnati. Cincinnati coming off a big win against Jacksonville, one of the best games that we've seen on Monday Night Football in a while. You had Jake Browning just play amazingly well, throw for over 300 yards, and was just fantastic in that game. This one's tough for me. This is tough because Jake Browning showed me something. He showed me when he has the weapons, he can play well.
I'm going to pick the Bengals just because they're at home.
I think I'm going to do the same. I think I'm going to pick Cincinnati as well. David, what do you got?
I'm going to go with Indianapolis. Okay. I think they're playing really good ball right now. They're winners of 4 straight in a row.
Yeah.
I think offensively they've really found their stride. They've really clicked. And so I do want to give credit to Jake Browning. I think he played a fantastic game on Monday night. Kudos to him. He was a 4-year starter in Washington. And we know where Washington's at right now. They're in the college football playoffs. He showed up. He played a great game this week. I expect that to continue. But I think that Indianapolis, they're going to win a close one.
Yeah. So the next game, we have Jacksonville versus Cleveland. This one's a tough one. This one is a tough one. I mean, I watched the game. Joe Flacco played pretty well. He played better than DTR has been. This one's a tough one for me because am I going to get Trevor Lawrence in this game? I don't know.
I mean, I'm pretty sure we can do caveats here. I think that if Trevor Lawrence plays...
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, let's do that. Yeah, I'll take Jacksonville if Trevor Lawrence plays.
Yeah, same.
All right. Great. Carolina versus New Orleans. Man, this is David. We've talked about it.
Yeah.
We thought that the Saints would be better than they have been this year. David Carr has been just an absolute travesty in New Orleans. Some of his decision making is just, David, you know how I love this word, idiotic.
Yeah, you love that word.
And so, but I mean, but Carolina is just awful. They're just awful. So I'm going to take the Saints in this game.
I'm going to take a risk and say Carolina's going to pull this one out.
Wow.
It just feels like one of those games, dude. Like,
no,
yeah,
I'm
I wouldn't be
you.
surprised if that happens. I'm going to choose the Saints, though.
Yeah.
I mean, I think this is a game that Dennis Allen needs, especially because if they go 5-8,
yeah, that's true.
Is he back next year? I don't know.
I don't think he is. I think that
I don't think he'll even
playing
make
for his
it. I
job
don't
right
even
now.
think he'll make it towards the end of the season.
Yeah,
he might. That's what I'm saying. I think if he loses this game, he's out.
Yeah.
So he needs this.
Yeah.
So I think the Saints will pull this one out.
Alrighty. Okay, we have Houston versus the Jets. For me, this is no brainer. I'm going to take
Houston.
Yeah, I'm gonna take Houston. We're all taking Houston there. Okay,
No, give me
now
Zach Wilson and the Jets.
I'm dead.
You
better not put that.
No, I'm not.
Okay, Minnesota versus the Raiders. We all saw what happened last Monday night. Joshua Dobbs came back to earth. And the newly led Antonio Pierce Raiders team has been competitive.
Yeah,
They've been competitive. They've been really good. I'm still waiting for that news to drop that he's been hired as a full-time Raiders coach. I believe he's the right fit for that team in the next season of that franchise. And so I'm going to take the Raiders in this game.
Yeah,
Right,
I'm
so
just really, like you said, I'm really proud of Antonio Pierce, former Giant, how well he's been playing. I expect that to continue, and I'm just so happy for him.
Yeah. Okay, so Seattle versus San Francisco. I don't think we need to talk about this either. I'm taking the 49ers in this game. They're just on a roll. I don't think anyone can stop them short of an injury.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to take San Francisco in this game.
Yeah.
Same.
Yeah. Realistically, San Francisco, in my heart, I want Seattle to win. But yeah, San Francisco got it in the bag, especially at home.
Yeah, I agree. Here we go. Buffalo versus Kansas City.
Ooh.
This one's a tough one because both of these teams have their flaws. For me, I believe that the Kansas City's flaws are way bigger, too big for them to overcome the Bills. I believe the Bills will win this game. As much as I want to see Patrick Mahomes succeed, I just don't think he has the weapons to do that. Not against Buffalo with the amount of firepower that they have on that team. So I'm taking Buffalo in this game.
Yeah, I agree. They got a more complete team.
I'm gonna go with give me my homeboy. Give me Mahomes.
Okay.
Just because I don't trust Josh Allen. I just don't. Here's
the thing. Here's the thing, though. If it's close, I'm going to take Mahomes. Can we do a caveat for this one too, or no?
No.
Okay.
No, not for this one. No, this ain't no injury.
I will say.
This is why I'm taking Josh. It's because I don't think it's going to be close.
Yeah.
I don't think it will be.
Yeah.
I think Buffalo will jump out to a big enough lead where you don't have to rely on Josh Allen to make a game-winning drive. I just don't trust Kansas City's offense. Look at what just happened to them against Green Bay. They didn't even score above 20 points. I think he's good for at least 20.
Here's the thing. Josh Allen sneezes and half the time he throws a pick. Okay? So like don't I think Josh Allen is going to make this game close is what I'm saying. I think that he's He's just
Okay.
too inconsistent for me to trust him. And the Kansas City's defense is playing the best that they've ever played under Mahomes ever. So
I know,
I
but
think
they
that
didn't
they're
play
going to
good
step
against
up. They're
Jordan
going to make
Love.
plays. Listen, they had a bad game. And even if we really want to get into the nitty gritty of that game, come on, was that not pass
Okay.
interference on MVS? Like, come on,
It was.
let's
But was he
let's
going to
be
catch
real.
it? Was he going to
Probably
catch
not.
it?
Probably not. But
He would have
but
dropped
then
it.
you get into that area of the field, man. Just give the ball to Pacheco, and he'll win the game for you. So like,
No, they've been
it
pretty
didn't
bad
even
in the
have to
red
come
zone.
to that. No, he's
Yeah,
been good
you're
in
right.
the red zone. He's been good in the red zone.
Well, if you
So-
get it to
so-
him, yeah.
So did the Kansas City Chiefs play their best game last week? No, but they probably still should have won that game. And
Yeah.
so with Josh Allen at quarterback, he's due for 1 or 2 interceptions probably against that defense. They keep it a close game. Mahomes is going to pull out. He's going to win games because right now, even though he's not having the best season this year, overall, he's still the best quarterback in the league.
Yeah. So Denver versus the Chargers. I'm going to take Denver in this game. I think their
I'm also gonna
defense
take Denver.
is playing well. I think Russell Wilson, you limit the idiotic interceptions that he had against Houston, they maybe win that
Mhm.
game. So I'm
Yeah.
going to take Denver to win this.
Same.
Steven?
Mhm.
Yeah, he's going to
Same.
take Denver as well.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
I'm going to skip. Well, we already went over this, but I'm going to skip it anyway because I want that to be the last thing we talk about. Tennessee versus Miami. Who you got in that game? I'm going to take Miami. I think Tennessee is just
Miami.
This
They're
is not
pitiful.
even a conversation.
Miami.
Okay, Green Bay versus New York. Again, I think
Green Bay.
is playing the best
Green
football that
Bay.
they're playing this season. They're having that right
This is a
now.
playoff team, guys. This is a playoff team.
This
Jordan
is a
Love is a
sneaky
franchise
playoff team.
quarterback. We're seeing it.
Yeah.
Man,
We're seeing it
can
right now.
Matt LaFleur coach or what? Like just what
Yeah,
he's been able to
absolutely.
do.
Oh,
Mhm.
he's 16-0, I think, in December.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
He is.
Yeah.
He is. So there's something about him.
Yeah.
All right. And so the final game, we've already talked about it. We've heard from, I don't know if I've said who I thought would win. Have I said that yet? Have I picked?
No,
No,
you
a
haven't
side?
said that yet. You have not picked yet.
So Steven is taking his Eagles. David is taking his Cowboys. Now I'm going to go on
As
an
the objective
explanation.
judge.
Honestly, yes. Honestly. This is my trepidation. Okay. I'm going to use that word, trepidation. I hate Skip Bayless so much. Like I can't even begin to tell you how much I hate that man. Okay, hate's a really strong word. I dislike
Yeah,
him a
no
whole
dislike.
lot.
Disagree.
I dislike him a whole lot.
You pray for him every
He's
day.
been-
'cause you should.
He's been tripping this entire year when it comes
Yeah.
to the subject about the Dallas Cowboys. He believes that the Dallas Cowboys
Have no flaws.
have no flaws. Everything's an aberration. Nothing, and all Philly is just a big bowl of luck, is what he's described.
Mhm.
I've never wanted an Eagles team to win more than on Sunday.
Oh my gosh. Damn.
I've never wanted something so much in my whole life than to see the Philadelphia Eagles beat the Dallas Cowboys, because I want that man to be miserable.
Wow.
Because he's going to have to go in on Monday and eat crow for everything that he said. Now, with that being said, that is not my pick.
Oh.
That is not my pick. I'm going to take the Dallas Cowboys in this game because we have to win this game.
Yeah.
We do.
We
You
have to win this game. We need it more than those Eagles. We need it more because Philly, at least they've beaten somebody.
Mhm.
The Cowboys haven't beaten anybody yet, and we need to beat someone. So I'm going to take the Dallas Cowboys to win the game. But again, if the Eagles beat the Dallas Cowboys, I'm still going to be able to sleep at night because I know that I'm going to wake up in the morning and I'm going to see Skip Bayless squirm on that Undisputed set. I don't watch Undisputed very often, but I will watch for that moment, for his day of reckoning. And so that's how we're going to end this episode. David, I don't know if this is how you wanted to end it or not.
All I want to
want to
say,
end it this way?
well, all I want to say, and then you can finish it off again.
Mm.
If the Eagles win, Skip is not going to be the only one who is bullied. Not on Monday, on Sunday, on Facebook. It's going to be all over my Facebook. Everyone's going to tag me and stuff of just the Cowboys haven't beat anyone over 500, this and this and that. So you're asking that on me, and you're wanting to be happy about that in the show. Take us to commercial.
And Steven will be incorrigible on Facebook as well. That also, I would also be looking forward to.
Steven, I'm gonna add you on Facebook right now. I'm gonna add you.
Oh, dog.
Hey, it's a good feed.
Oh.
It's a good feed. I'll tell you that.
I only got 2 Eagles fans on Facebook. I might have to mute you though if you go too crazy.
I only do it. I don't do it for every Cowboys fan because every Cowboys fan is not.
We're not created equal.
Look at me and Steven. Look at our relationship.
Yeah.
Look at our relationship. You know, we have a very, very good relationship.
Yeah.
It's because I'm a Cowboys realist, and I've always have been, always will be. And so I don't know who, Steven, what fans you hate most. Do you hate 49ers fans more or the Cowboys fans more?
I don't think there's a rivalry.
Oh, that's right.
Between the Eagles
He doesn't play into that. Yeah.
I think the Eagles and Cowboys. That's like every single year. That's just like
that's it. That's the rivalry. That's what we get up for. Yeah.
But I will say the San Fran and Eagles thing has kind of been developing lately.
It has.
Oh yeah, has been.
You know, and so I think it's been more because of the players complaining and stuff, and so like
that's right.
You know, there's always like fuel to the fire, players chatting and stuff, and so I think that's that. But I think the biggest one is Eagles and Cowboys for sure. No doubt about it.
Yeah, no doubt.
Like people put Cowboy stickers on their toilets. Like, you know, and if that's not a rivalry, I don't know what is.
Yeah, that's true.
All I know is that Eagles, Cowboys, no rivalries with the Giants. Like the Giants are just.
Yeah,
those are automatic W's in the schedule.
Yeah, I don't look at the schedule and be like, I'm looking forward to that game. No.
Yeah, but this Eagles, Cowboys doesn't get any better than that.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, I agree. Well, hashtag do it for Dom. All right. Hashtag do it for Dom. That was probably my favorite moment from Sunday.
Hey, I have a question for y'all because other Cowboys fans that are as delusional can be are saying, oh, he should, or even Niners fans are like, oh, he should have never grabbed them and stuff. And I'm like, they do not see he was just he's doing his job. He's trying to hold back players from engaging into anything.
From what I saw, just from where I was sitting, because I didn't listen to the sound. I had the sound down. I was watching at Chuchito's house, and we had the sound off.
Yeah.
Based on what I saw, well, here's the thing. Should he have put his hands on someone? I mean, it's not like he was like grabbing someone. He was just trying to, hey, like let's break this up.
Separate them. Yeah,
a fight was about to ensue.
Yeah,
that much was clear.
Yeah.
What for me went over the top is him. Greenlaw threw a punch.
Yeah,
he threw a punch.
Yeah.
Now, if you want to push back, that's you can do that. Like if you're that type of person, hey, I don't like it when you put your hands on me. I don't like that. That's fine.
Yeah.
But to throw a punch at the man, that is what I take issue with.
Yeah.
Had he just pushed him or say, hey man, get off me, that's fine. That's one thing. But when you throw a punch at a guy, that's where it's like, okay, man, like that was too much. He should have gotten tossed for that. If you're gonna throw a punch at a player and get tossed, same thing should happen to someone who's not on the field. It's not like he was onto the field. He was on the sideline.
Yeah, he never went past.
I don't know why everybody was saying that he was going on the field. I don't understand that at all.
He was not going on the field.
What I think played into it, though, was they said it was reported that him and Greenlaw were getting into it even before the game started. And so that was their determining factor of throwing Dom out. Now, I absolutely agree with both of y'all that I think it was an overreaction I think even by sports media, because like you guys said, it wasn't like he threw a punch at Greenlaw. He's just telling him to back up. Hey,
Yeah,
get off my guy.
He's the head of security. He's doing his
head
job.
of security. So yeah, so he's doing his job. Now, have I ever seen a chief of security even be on the sidelines like that? No, probably not. But I mean, it wasn't really that big of a deal. I think everyone's just kind of overreacting. But
Yeah,
Steven, I have one last
obliviated.
question. I have one last question before you take off, and then Dan, you can try and end the show again. So now that we've had this full conversation, and this is also for Savage and for everybody else who's listening, would you categorize me as a delusional Cowboys fan?
No.
Thank you. That's it. I rest my case.
I don't
we
think
can
so.
end the show now? We can end the show now?
We can end the show now, Dan.
I mean, I'm going based off of this.
This conversation.
This is how I am every single week, Steven.
No, it's not. This is not
I
how
don't
it
know,
is
man.
every
I've
single
seen
week.
clips.
Yeah.
I've seen clips, man. I don't know.
I've shown him clips.
Yeah.
Clips.
Yeah, I showed him.
And misconstrued. So you're gonna have to watch the entire show.
I'm dead.
You know, just like we don't want to take out of context.
I've seen you call Dak amazing. I've seen you call Dak amazing before this.
When he wasn't.
You know?
When he wasn't.
When he
Before
wasn't.
this. Yeah.
Exactly.
Before this
Yeah.
one. Yeah.
So that's why I'm like, are you sure? Like, you know?
Yeah.
So
For
this episode, I don't think you're delusional. For this episode, I don't think
I appreciate it, Steven. You can come back to the show now.
But if you were, you're definitely not the biggest delusional fan that I know.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Well, guys, this is going to do it for Double Take an NFL podcast. For Daniel and for David, Steven, bro, thank you for jumping on. It's been one great conversation. I'll see you tonight. But everyone else, for everyone else, this is Daniel signing off. Have a great week of watching NFL football. We'll see you guys later. God bless.
Oh, okay. Oh, no.